the 4 answers?
No.
Or are you looking for the positives?
It's the sine squared that had 4 answers. Like this would only have 2 answers.
Oh, okay.
Are you recording?
Yeah.
So I kind of I would.
Okay, shh. What should we do first?
You should negative sign.
Are you sure this is safe?
Sign negative
Like, is
one.
there space and stuff like that?
Oh,
Or are you
please.
recording?
There's a lot of space. I'm recording. Yes, yes, yes.
Sign negative one.
So, what's that called?
Sign inverse.
That's right. Sine inverse of negative 0.4. Says we're rounding to the 10th place also.
How many questions are there?
Probably 12
What?
Wow. You're
on test.
Bro, that's crazy.
I mean, if you do good, then you're gonna do good. If you do like miss 2, then you're gonna fail.
Didn't you say miss 3?
That's
You
easy.
get B?
Well, I said partial credit. Depends. Okay, so anybody plugged it in yet? What is it?
23.6.
Make sure.
Negative 20.
Make sure your calculator is in degrees based on the directions. Okay, now this is not an answer, right? Because it's not between 0 and 360. It's negative. But what quadrant would this be in? Fourth. So we need a positive fourth quadrant angle, and we also need a third quadrant angle. So how does this help us find our answer though?
We can subtract it from.
Okay, 23.6 will be our reference angle because that tells us how far we are from the x-axis. So the positive version would be this version. It'd be 360 minus 23.6. Which is what? 336.4. Okay, and then how do we find the third quadrant version?
180 plus 20.
Right. Okay, we know we're looking for a third quadrant angle because sine equals something negative. And sine is also negative in the third quadrant. So 180 plus 23.6.
So how do you know if you need how many answers, like negative?
Well, there's only 2 places where sine is negative. The problems where we were getting 4 answers was like when we were doing like this.
Oh, the square.
The squared, because when you square root it, it's like plus or minus. And so sine equals like positive 1/2, sine equals negative 1/2. Then each of those would have 2 answers. So that gave us 4 answers altogether.
How many questions are like this?
But that was like at the end of the, 6, like half the test. There's 4 of the easier kind and 2 of the harder kind. There's 2 where you have to graph, 2 where you have to interpret their graph. So there's kind of 4 graphing questions. And then there's 2, 3. I wonder if I made that bonus. For some reason I didn't put a number on that one. There's 2 or 3 where you have to like change sine squared into 1 minus cosine squared. That kind of thing. Simplify the functions. Okay. Alright, number 2, what's the first step going to be? Divide by 5, and then it's pretty much the same thing. Oh, wait, I'm using red.
Actually, it's the one I'm interested in, but I was also going to talk about like 8,000. I can use everybody with it.
So I can scroll up a little bit. Now what?
Negative.
Cosine inverse.
It's 66.4.
Okay, is that one of our answers? Yes. It's a first quadrant answer, it's between 0 and 360. It's also our reference angle, because that tells us how far we are from 0 degrees. It's a first quadrant. What other quadrant is cosine equal to something positive?
Third. Right now, it's sorry, fourth.
Fourth. Let me scroll back up there.
Oh, cosine.
So we've got this quadrant is 66.4, whatever it was. So we need the fourth quadrant where cosine is also positive. So we're going to do 360 minus 66.4. Which would be 293.6.
Crazy mouse.
I could add these as questions to the top. You guys want me to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I might have to write the question on the board. I could adjust the test.
That's okay.
That way I could grade them at the beginning, make sure you guys got them right. Plus you guys mostly know those anyways. Wouldn't be too hard to. Okay, 3 and 4 are the same thing except for what?
The 5.
Radians. So that means you need to switch your calculator to radians.
What's your favorite Christmas song? Mr. Jordan? What's your favorite Christmas
I don't
song?
know. I don't have one. Do you have one?
No, not really. But
What'd
I
you put on the test?
put Jingle Bell Rock.
That's
Jingle Bell Rock, come on.
That's a good one.
That's like
What
a
about
love
Mary
song
Had a Little
that
Lamb? I put
everybody
Carol
likes.
with Bells.
You put Mary Had a Little Lamb?
Mary, did you know
What'd
That's what I put.
you had a little lamb?
Movie? I bet it's
Bro.
one. I don't know what movies. That's what I was tempted to put.
I was good on Elf too. I like Elf.
Yeah, it was one of the
Yeah, I put Elf. I put Elf.
I just feel.
I hope if you put Mary Had a Little Lamb that you got it wrong.
I didn't.
It was Wells.
I know.
So we're just
I put Mary
like,
Had a Little
like
I
on
put
the
on
first 5 days.
I put
You know the Revelation? Like, I put
think it was A, but I think it was Lord.
You know, the predispositional one was in the test.
All I want for Christmas is you.
That song sucks.
Maria, did you not
What
vote
about
for
Last
that one?
Christmas?
No, I didn't vote for that one.
You'd rather do All We Want for Christmas?
Yeah.
For, I was negative.
Okay,
I hate the bullet.
have you guys started this one?
Yes.
Have you done this?
Yeah.
What did it spit out? Okay, unfortunately, it's like number 1. That is not between 0 and 2 pi. It's not positive. What quadrant would that be in?
That would be in the
It's, okay, negative goes this way, right? So it's in the 4th quadrant. This is like 1.57. This is like 3.14 if we're in radians. Anyway, it'd be the 4th quadrant. So this is 3.14. What's this?
6.28.
Double that, yeah, twice that much. So negative 1.1. What was the? I should have written down another digit because they said in hundreds place.
1 out of 1.
What?
Negative 1.1.
1.
Oh, another one. Okay.
Watch the coordinates you give me.
Huh?
Oh no!
But this is our reference angle. This tells us how far we are from the x-axis. So the 4th quadrant angle will be 6.28 minus 1.11.
You were obsessed. Like you would fantasize about it.
Okay. What other quadrant is tangent equal to something negative?
The second.
The second. So that's here. How do I find a second quadrant angle?
3.14.
3.14 minus 1.11.
Yeah.
It's kind of easy to subtract by 1.11. Little Miss Pretty One.
That one is not actually happy.
You're not happy?
What the goof? Don't look at that.
You look very sharp today.
Thank you.
I hope you see my eyes and break your
Would you like
leg again.
to hear about your
Yeah, I told you.
extended water repeat?
No,
Yeah.
I won't.
I feel like you haven't broken anything in a while.
I haven't.
Way to go.
I'm sure my bones are like things. Or
It's okay, just push her over and she'll.
No, she's the one that breaks, not the things around her.
I just like drove with like a tough and songs.
Okay, do you guys remember how to do secant? Because that's not on the calculator. 1 over cosine. But
Only some.
that's not quite how we wrote it. You guys remember how we wrote it?
Cosine inverse with 1.5.
Cosine equals 1 over 1.5. That's kind of weird. I don't know if we did that with a... Usually it was a fraction, like a normal fraction, but it's okay. So basically secant is cosine flipped. So if you change it to cosine, you gotta flip this. And flipping that is just 1 over that. So we have to do cosine inverse of that.
0.84.
Okay, that's good news because it's not negative. That means it's one of our answers. What quadrant is that in? First. What other quadrant does cosine equal something positive? 4. Yeah. So we've got like this one is 0.84. So the 4th quadrant version of that would be 6.28. Okay, does everybody know where the 6.28 is coming from?
Yes.
Yeah.
This, okay, because this is pi radians and pi is 3.14. This would be half of that. And this would be twice that much. I don't think we need to know this one, but it would be like that plus that. I don't think we really need that for this test though. I think we needed it last test or something. But yeah, you will need to know that and that. Probably not that. Okay, so 6.28 minus 0.84. 5 point what? 5.44.
So, as long as it doesn't have as long as it's not squared, is it always just gonna have two answers?
Yeah, there is one exception, but I didn't put on the test. Like if it was 90 degrees, the answer would just be like one thing. Like if it was,
Wow.
or 270 would have one answer, or 180, 3.14, whatever would have one answer. Weird. I didn't put those on the test. No. There was like one on each assignment, but. Okay, do you guys want to do the harder version of those, which I put at the end, or do you want to do the graphing part? You want to do the harder version?
Is the graphing part the one we did yesterday?
Yeah, yes. Okay, so we're on 5, right? Okay, so we're going back to degrees. So you change your calculator. Same directions as like 1 and 2. Rounding to the 10th place. Let's do tangent squared equals 4. Oof, I put a I'm a little bit concerned about number 6, TBH.
It doesn't look that bad. Wait, is the only reason to do the thingy, the dip thing?
I'm concerned about all these.
I'm not really that worried about you guys for 1 through 4. Maybe 5 will be okay too, though. Okay, what do we do first on 5? I forgot to switch colors. Square root. We don't want that squared. You got to remember though, when you use the square root trick, it's plus or minus. So if you remember that, it's just at this point it's the same as pretty much the same as numbers 1 and 2. Wait, did I already do tangent of theta equals 2? What did I put up here? I know I did a tangent. Was it 2?
It was negative 2.
Oh, it was negative 2. Okay, well that actually will be, so this won't happen on the test, but that would actually be the same 2 answers as number, was it 3? But these 2 will be a little different. Okay, so just like 1 and 2 in those problems, we need tangent inverse of 2, tangent inverse of negative 2. What's tangent inverse of 2?
63.4.
Okay, so that's the first quadrant angle. Here's the thing, because these are like 2 and negative 2, that's 63.4. So tangent is positive in the first and fourth quadrants. 63.4 will be our reference angle. But it's also negative in the fourth and second quadrants. And 63.4, because it's the same value, just negative, it will have the same reference angle. Like if you plug this in, you should get negative 63.4. Right? Anybody plug that in? So it's all 4 quadrants, because we have 2 positive quadrants, 2 negative quadrants. The only answer that we have, though, right now is 63.4. Negative 63.4 is not between 0 and 360. So to get the positive version of that, we're going to have to do 360 minus 63.4. And over here, we're going to have to do 180 minus 63.4 and 180 plus 63.4. Clear as mud?
Are we gonna have one for like foil?
Factor, you mean?
You know?
Number 6.
No.
I said that's one I was a little concerned about. Okay, what would this be? 360 minus 63.4 would be 296.6. Did I do that right?
Yeah.
And then this 180 plus would be 243.4. And 180 minus would be 116.6.
Yeah.
See, that's not too bad, right? Huh? You could think of these separately, like this is like a repeat of number 3. And just find the 2 angles that equal negative. But if these values are the same, just opposite, it's going to be the same reference angle. Okay, anyway, that's pretty much the same as 1 through 4, but 6 is something different. What do you guys think for number 6?
Get it to the top.
Yeah, let's bring it to the left. Whoops, +1. So, this was not the hardest one of these that we did, but it was like maybe the second hardest we did. We didn't do a ton of these either way. You guys remember what happened after this?
Yeah. Take out that signs.
Replace briefly sine with x. Now, you could use quadratic formula here, but they're good. They also factor.
If everyone gets wrong,
I don't think it's that bad.
I don't think everyone will do it wrong. Okay, what goes in the front?
3 and 1. Right.
Back?
1 and
Do 1 times -1 multiply to 1?
1 and wait, -1 and
-1.
-1.
Does that work? Outside, inside, what's -3x minus 1x? So yeah, it does work. What x values make these factors equal 0? 1/3 and 1. This is not the same as the one on the test, so I'm not sure it'll work out exactly like this, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close. Because I just said 90 degrees, we wouldn't have one of those, but this would be 90 degrees. This one will be. Okay, so remember we turned sine into x, so it's really sine of theta equals 1/3 and sine of theta equals 1. So at this point, we're finally to the spot where it's more like number 1. So it's sine inverse of 1/3 and this one is.
19.5.
19.5. Okay, this one has a twin. Sine is positive in the first quadrant, which is what this one is, but it's also positive in the second quadrant. So it would need to do 180, 19.5 is the reference angle. 180 minus 19.5 to find the second quadrant angle. This guy, 90 degrees, it's not in the first or second quadrant, it's, straight up. It's kind of its own reference angle, but this is unique. It doesn't have a buddy. It's got one answer on that one. There's only one place that sine equals only one place sine equals -1. Anyways.
Mr. Jordan, sorry, how did you know 1/3 was in the second quadrant?
Okay, sine can equal something positive in the first and second quadrant because it's positive 1/3. So I needed a first quadrant angle, which is what the sine inverse gave me, and I needed a second quadrant version of that angle. 19.5 is the reference angle because that tells us how far we are off the x-axis. So I did 180 minus 19.5 over there. Okay, ready to move on to graphing?
How did we do yesterday?
It's just a review of like the book assignment stuff. Actually, yeah, the recording failed also, so I'm gonna have to help you guys a little bit. But because I had to edit like 3 through 6 a little bit.
Will the next chapter be easier?
I think the next chapter starts with like right triangle SOHCAHTOA stuff, so that part should be easier.
Or do we get about
Isn't it
Huh?
gonna be like a month and a half until we do it though? Christmas.
Well, not that long,
Oh, cool. Exactly.
like a month, I guess.
Yeah, it's like barely.
Well, I know, but it's a week for Christmas break.
It's a month.
Mr. Jordan, what's
We
the
start
like
at February.
January?
January.
Is this like gonna be reviewed?
Semester review.
2 or 3 weeks?
2 weeks.
It's
two.
4 degrees.
Well, it's ends on the 20th, and it goes to the 6th, 31st, plus 6, 17 days.
Okay,
Because it's 2
Do we
weeks.
need graph?
these are make your own graph problems, not pre-made.
So we,
Oh, look, there's a
It's not like the worksheet where they.
If people can just leave for like
so we have to give our
next year, I feel like
points.
In a way, that kind of makes it easier because you can
because then I get some time off from school.
make your period match.
Like,
Sorry, on the back.
like me basically.
There's only 2 graphs per week.
Cause I don't feel like it's worth it. You know? Although not studying for finals is good.
Okay. What number are we on? 7. Yikes. I guess I didn't put any horizontal shift on there. Let's get a break. Okay, what is the amplitude? What is the period? Or how do we find the period?
2 positive.
pi, always divided by this number. 2. And in that case, that would just equal pi. Okay, so the easiest way to do it is make 4 marks. If you want to make them really close, that's fine. And the 4th mark, you make your period. We'll put 1 going backwards. On the worksheet we did, they marked all these out, like 3 pi over 4. That's okay, we don't have to do that. We're basically counting by quarter pies. If we 1/4 of a pi. Alright. The amplitude is 3. And on this first one there is no vertical shift, right? So this is the middle, the x-axis is the middle. The amplitude is 3, that means the graph's going up 3 and down 3 from the middle. Where does sine start at? Middle going up. So you can tell this a little bit easier than the worksheet, right? This one is. Next one's about the same. I'm gonna let it shine. Okay. Number 8. What is the amplitude? 2. Period?
Oh, I'm sorry, 2 pi.
2 pi divided by this number for the x, the variable. Okay, that's a weird period, but it doesn't really matter because we're making our own graph. So on the 4th mark, I'm just going to call it 2 pi over 3. And you have to label your graph. You can't just expect me to know what this is. Okay, this one has something different. What's this -1 doing to the graph? Okay, the middle of the graph is going to be down 1. But the amplitude is 2, so what does that tell me? From that middle, it should be going up 2 and down 2. So those should be the boundaries of the graph. Where does cosine start at? Top. So if your starts at the top, there's nowhere else to go but to the middle, which is at -1. To the bottom. Into the middle. Right. Can I get that? And to the top. why we don't have a ton of questions. It'd take too long. Supposed to write an equation for the graph. Guys read that? Heard it? Okay, give amplitude period and an equation. That's the directions. Okay, what is the amplitude? Okay, how do you get that? It's going up 4 and down 4 from the middle. What is the period? Pi over, no? No? How far does it get before it starts repeating itself? From here to here, it starts repeating itself. Pi over 2. Okay. Does this one have any vertical shift? No. Still right in the middle. Does it have any horizontal shift? No. So you don't have to worry about that. What goes in front then? The amplitude? Is this a sine or cosine graph? What goes right after sine? 2 pi divided by the actual period. What's going to happen, you can plug this in the calculator, but the pi's will cancel out. Dividing by 1/2 is like multiplying by 2, so it'll be 4. Okay, that's our b value. And just put the variable right there, x or theta or whatever. That's it on that one. We have to go up. Come on. Uh-oh. Oh no. Please. I don't have time.
I guess we have to postpone it.
Not happening.
Silly goose.
I think we can feel really good about what we've accomplished this year. Especially nice work on Project Line, Alden. Who's Alden? Why is that an example? We haven't heard much during our meeting from Alex. Do you have any thoughts?
Being able to do it yourself, like imagine,
Yes.
like,
Thanks
I've
for your
never done that.
contribution, Jordan. What do you think?
Imagine
Yes.
tomorrow,
Did you guys see on the test where it said LeBron
Okay.
or LeBron or something?
Yeah, James of LeBron.
James of LeBron.
Yeah, that was one of my questions.
What?
I wrote next to it LeBron James.
I almost circled it just for the fun of it.
Okay,
James of LeBron.
what is the amplitude on this one?
2.
2. So from the middle of the graph, which is right here, it's going up 2 and down 2. So the amplitude. Okay, what is the period?
That is.
Okay, I'm counting by 1, so, or I guess these marks are 2s. So 2, 4, 6, 8. All right. What should we put first?
1 minus.
1 minus?
Negative
Yeah.
plus.
Alright?
Not two plus.
What if it's a negative cosine?
Yeah, 3.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're doing the vertical shift first, that'd be at -3. Right? It's down 3. This is the middle of the graph. So the graph is shifted down 3. It's -3 plus. Okay, then what comes next? Yep, the amplitude. Is this a sine or cosine graph? Okay, what comes right after cosine? 2 pi divided by the period. So in this case, that would reduce to pi over 4. Is there verticals or horizontal shift? No. If there were, we'd have to do like parentheses. So I didn't make that hard. So that would be it.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
No.
Okay, scrolling.
What's your name?
Drugs? Then booger, sugar.
Greg, you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
Texted me just so I was just wondering.
My church. Like it's for
Okay, there's kind of, I don't know if you guys remember, there's 2 formulas I said you guys need to have memorized. Cosine squared, sine squared plus cosine squared equals what? 1. And you guys remember the other one?
No.
Tangent equals sine. 1.
Tangent equals sine over cosine. I guess, I don't think I put that on. Yeah, I'll put that one. You also need, I didn't add this because it's like from way in our past, but you also need to know stuff like cosecant is like 1 over sine. But that's not new, so I wasn't really thinking of that as a thing, but you do need to know all of those reciprocal function things.
When did we first learn about that?
I can't remember if we did in geometry or algebra 2. The first time we did trig was geometry. Yeah, there's actually 13 questions, I guess. I just didn't label one for some reason.
Wait, is the other math class in algebra 2 right now?
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
So last year.
Really good one, kid. I know, I'm already.
Okay. You guys ready? We need to hurry a little bit. Okay. What's 1 minus sine squared turn into?
That is.
Yeah, if you subtract sine squared, 1 minus sine squared equals
Really?
cosine squared. He didn't say squared, but.
But it was close enough.
Okay, cosine divided by cosine squared.
Cosine.
Right, one of the cosines cancels out. So it's 1 over cosine, which equals secant.
There's a tear running down my cheek after you said.
Okay, 12. It's a FOIL problem, but you really don't have to do all the FOIL since they're conjugates. You just do first and last. 1 times 1 is 1. Negative sine times sine is negative sine squared. What's 1 minus sine squared equal? Cosine squared.
So you like.
See this in the last one. Okay, this is distribute. What's sine times cosecant? Yeah, cosecant is like 1 over sine. So you multiply those together, the signs just cancel out. So it's just 1. What's sine times sine?
Sine squared. So
You guys see the sign pattern here? Cosine. Now I did change these all a little bit from the test, so it's not all going to be like cosine squared, but
What if it's sine squared?
they're pretty. It might be sine squared. I don't know.
I'm so tired.